So, I purchased Adobe Premiere 2023 very recently. What basically happened was I was using Adobe Premiere 2019, and while I was using it, I had a problem with my computer. It was just very frustrating. I had a really hard time dealing with that crap. I intended on posting a video every single day, or at least every other day. That was the initial goal. And then the problems occurred with my computer and then Adobe. So I decided to take this opportunity to get a new version of Premiere, the 2023 model. And it seemed like it had, a lot of neat features that could be very useful for me in the future. So I bought it. Spent 80 bucks approximately, US dollars, and I installed it. It took a while. I had an issue with my computer that wouldn't allow it to actually download to do anything with it. So I had to wait till I factory resetted my computer entirely to get it to work. All that stuff is going to be in the My Computer Has Issues video, but this irritates me to no freaking end because thanks Adobe, you guys screwed me over. So what happened was I finally got access to the program. I finally got it installed. I finally got to the point where I can actually put in the code. And so, I kind of forgot about the serial code being a thing. Because if you don't know, when you get Adobe products, like Adobe Premiere, you have to put in the code to prove that you are the rightful owner. To literally activate it. So that's what you need. Well, I kind of forgot about that, and I was like, kind of panicking, like, wait, how do I get, where's the code? Like, it just took me a good, minute to figure it out. I was like, wait a minute, maybe they sent me an email. So I looked around for it, and lo and behold, it was there. So I put in the code, and then it said, oh, you are denied access. It literally told me that my code was revoked. I'm the owner of my own account. What are you talking about? I go into the VR virtual help because it was a Saturday, so I typed in my problem, and lo and behold, it goes, oh, by the way, if you have issues like a revoked code, you can go here. And it takes you to a place that I'd already been to. That doesn't even help me. It's about telling you that the revoked code that you just try to put in that says it's a revoked code isn't a legitimate code from the legitimate people. It's like, how is that gonna help me who paid 80 bucks for the program? You're acting as if this code is fake, that it's false. It's not. It came from you, from your own company. I purchased Adobe Premiere Elements 2023 on your site. I paid hard-earned cash on your site, Adobe. I didn't buy it off of Amazon. I didn't get it off of some random person. I didn't buy it off of some random person. I paid it on your site. The very least you could do is make it super easy without having to call up a number to be like, hey, you messed up. Fix this crap. I shouldn't have to call you. I shouldn't have to call customer service to get this fixed. Heck, I don't even want to call customer service. Yeah, it sucks that I lost 80 freaking bucks, and I can't use my product, and effectively they have robbed me. Essentially is what they've done, is they've robbed me of my cash. I gave them money. They gave me a code to get in my access to my personal editing program that I paid for to edit content for YouTube, on YouTube, for fun, and potentially for a job, and I'd be extremely ticked off if this was my job. And in retrospect, I probably will be even more angry at this whole entire concept because it potentially could have slowed me down on producing content that could give me a job on YouTube. I give you money, you give me product. You don't get to take it away from me. That's not okay, Adobe. That's not fine. That's not okay. I wish that I could find a better editing software that's better than Adobe. I wish. You don't hear people using Sony or any other editing software that's reasonably good. Adobe's really good. I want to support Adobe. They make good products. They make good software. Good editing software. Good Photoshop. Good video editing. Adobe, if you're listening, if you're gonna try and make this whole situation better in the future, do me a solid and allow the person to be able to confirm that they are they themselves of the owners of said purchase, which shouldn't even be a thing when it's off of your own site. That goes without saying. But at the very least, if you think that the person that paid off of your site didn't get it legally, then go through the proper channels to allow them, the person who paid for it, to prove they paid for it by billing addresses. It's literally embedded in the site. I can pull up my billing address. I can show exactly when I paid for it, how much I paid for it, because it's in the site. If I can pull that up from my own personal account as a PDF file and download it to my phone, then you can easily verify in seconds without me having to pick up a phone or texting on a virtual assistant to ask to fix the problem for you guys, Adobe, to fix the issue. It's that simple. I literally look up this information trying to figure it out. You can't, like, there's nothing. There's no solving this issue. You can't look it up. There's no solution on the site. For all I know, this could be the first time it's ever happened. For all I know, this has never happened to anybody but me. You want to know why? Because there's no anything to help about it. Anything related to a revoked code says that it's a illegal code that is fabricated. It's a flippin' mess. Just at the end of the day, Adobe, fix your crap. For crying out loud, I've supported you for years. I paid money for Adobe Premiere and Adobe Photoshop at least 4 times. At least. I've never experienced this problem before. This is the first time I've ever experienced it. And I don't know why. I don't know how this happens. How do you go from giving your customer a code that's supposed to work that you just paid $80 for, 2 days later you put in the code and it doesn't work? It says it's revoked, and you don't even do anything to give you a replacement code. Because one would think that in a scenario where the code is revoked, that they would automatically give you a brand new one to use because you did pay for it. Therefore, you need to be able to activate it so you can use the product that you paid for. Otherwise, they have effectively robbed you. It's whatever. I don't care anymore. I re-downloaded 2019 and it works. It works just fine. I'm a little bit peeved that I got robbed my $80, but whatever. So I thought we were done with this video right here. Turns out I was way wrong. So I went, okay, maybe it was a fluke. So I spent $80 on Photoshop 2023 because I need Photoshop to be able to actually make my thumbnails. I get the code. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna put it in. And the one thing I noticed before I even put the code in, the date. The date. What's so important about the date, you might be asking? Well, my friends, look at the date where it says I purchased Adobe Photoshop 2023. Now look at the date that today is. It's Christmas Eve, the 24th, not the 23rd. Oh, and guess what? Premiere did the same thing when I bought it. From you guys, Adobe. From you guys. I purchased Adobe Premiere 2023 on December the 16th, not the 15th. So, when I saw that, I got a little concerned, and rightfully so, Adobe! Ugh. I have a lot of pent-up aggression with Adobe right now. Forgive me. So, well, I was like, okay, well, maybe it's not a big deal. Maybe it's not a huge deal. Perhaps, maybe, within me, forgetting how codes work, and not realizing, oh, Adobe has my code, the actual website where my account is, where all the information would be. Maybe when I was just looking around trying to figure out what my code is, that for some reason it locked up. Even though it's kind of bullcrap, but whatever. Well, it turns out I'm way freaking wrong, so I put in the code, and yet again, it says revoked. How is this? How do you do this, Adobe? How can you be this incompetent? Like, seriously, how? How are you this incompetent? I don't get it. You screwed me over once, you screwed me over twice. Like, is it so hard to ask for you to just cooperate with your customers? Is it so hard to ask that when you give them, when I, your customer, give you money, that you actually allow me to use the product that I paid for? Is that so hard to ask? Because apparently so. Because twice, you screwed me over. Twice I've trusted you, and you screwed me over. And I only did it because I need Photoshop to make my content, to put thumbnails in my videos. For crying out loud, Adobe, what the heck is wrong with you? And this is what gets me going. So when I actually go into the information when it comes to what, how to solve the problem, you know what they say when it comes to a revoked code? This is what they say. If you ever see a message similar to the ones displayed below when trying to install your product, which is this right here, it is because the serial number you are attempting to use, which by the way is by Adobe themselves, has been blocked by Adobe. Why is a serial number invalid or revoked, you may be asking? Adobe blocks serial numbers that have not been issued by Adobe. Adobe, you issued the code to me in the first place. It's on your site. How can you block a code that was issued by you? You initiated the code, nobody else. It's not like some magical other website that exists in an alternate dimension. That doesn't happen. I made this video because it's important to discuss when Adobe screws up, when a trusted site screws you over, not just once but twice. It's ridiculous. It shouldn't happen. It should never happen. Yet it happened 2 times on me. And I don't know if I'm just a special case, which is the first time thing that happened to me and me alone, or if there's other people that this happened to. I don't know. Let me know in the comments, guys. Have you ever been screwed over by Adobe like this, like me? Right now, I'm using Adobe Photoshop Trial to get these current videos up with thumbnails. I'm probably going to have to start posting videos until I can get this thing resolved without thumbnails, and then just put them in there later. I don't like doing that. I take pride in my thumbnails. I really spend a lot of time just thinking about how my thumbnails are going to look like, how am I going to make it look appealing, to catch people's interest, to capture what the video is supposed to be about, giving it an idea of how it's going to be. I do it with the title, I do it with a thumbnail. I never sway away from what my video is supposed to be. Like, I don't do clickbait. I don't like doing clickbait. I just like making my thumbnail be surrounding about a specific thing that I find very eye-catching, or I guess in this case, ear-catching. Well, actually, both eye and ear-catching, depending on what's being happening on the screen. But yeah, I really focus on my content. I make an effort to make it good, make it funny. But anyways, guys, I just want to say Merry Christmas Eve, Merry Christmas Day, and Happy New Year's. Peace out, everybody. See you guys in the next one.